Welcome back, guys, to another video. My name is Maku.
It's Kobayashi.
And today we're going to talk about episode 4 of Mob Psycho season 3. You want to go ahead and start it off for us, Kobayashi?
Yeah, so the very first scene, we get to see Mob. He encounters the journalist girl, and basically he tells her, "Oh, how come you didn't show up last Sunday?" And she's like, "Oh, on Saturday night, actually, I found the true leader of the Psycho Helmet Club, so I don't need you anymore." And then Mob was like really confused by what she said.
Yeah, Mob was like sort of perplexed because the news reporter, she was always like fond of him. Not for him specifically, but for his attributes of him being a psychic. So he kept nagging him. "Oh, come to this place, come to this place." So it caught him by surprise that she was not insistent this time around. And she ended up saying, "Oh, don't worry. I'm sorry for bothering you. I found the real Psycho Helmet leader."
So the next scene, Mob is actually, he went to work. He met up with Reagan. And basically Reagan's like, "Oh yeah, we should take down the divine tree." And Mob's like, "Oh yeah, we should take down the broccoli." Yeah.
And that's when it pans out to this next scene to where the other psychic, you want to go ahead and explain that part?
Yeah, so it pans out to Hanazawa. He's like at his apartment and he opens up the refrigerator. But then he gets suddenly, like, he becomes very affectionate to the tree. But then he breaks out of like the spell and he's like, "Dang, did I just get brainwashed?" So then he confronts the tree. He's flying over to the tree. And then when he gets to the divine tree, he sees the Mob lookalike, or the Mob doppelganger. First he's like, "Is that you, Kageyama?" But then he takes a closer look. He's like, "No, that's not you." And then he starts fighting with the fake Mob. They're scrapping.
But he just took him apart. That's pretty much what happened. But our theory was right. It was actually Dimple, because what ended up happening is that it was a spirit essentially, and he caught on immediately. "Oh, Dimple, is that you? You think Kageyama would approve of this?" And the booger, he ended up saying, "I don't care what he thinks. This wasn't even about Kageyama in the first place. It was about me becoming a god."
Yeah, because Dimple, he just wants to become a god. He wants to rule people. But, you know, he's just a spirit. So he just wants to transcend into a god.
So as the fight continues, Mob and Reagan, they keep just walking down the street when they end up meeting up with Mob's brother.
Yeah, it's because Reagan's like, "Oh, I think we need one more person for the job. Is your brother available?" He's like, "Yeah, he should be actually finished with the student council meeting. So let's go pick up your brother." But when they're walking too, Mob also notices, he's like, "Reagan, do you feel like people are watching us?" And Reagan's like, "I know you think you're popular all of a sudden, but don't let it get into your head like that." So
yeah, and then meanwhile they were walking, Mob's brother Ritsu actually had a few candies in his pocket, and sort of like 3 to 5 minutes prior to this, it showed like divine tree like samples and like cookies and teas and all sorts.
Yeah, basically the city is using the divine tree as like a tourist place. Little did we know it's actually something else, which we'll talk about later on.
Yeah, so Ritsu actually had a few of the candies that were promoted by the city for the divine tree, and he handed, "Oh, Kageyama, here, have one. You too, Reagan, you have one as well." And then, but they both ended up saying, "Okay, I'll just eat it later." So they just dashed it in their pocket, and they were arriving to the school, and that's where they noticed like a bunch of people just in there, and they were talking about, "Oh, so I heard you want to destroy the tree." And they were quite puzzled because they don't know how that he even figured it out in the first place. So then they both quickly went out because they were acting like mindless zombies. So Reagan and Kageyama, they were just both scared and ended up just hitting the dash, and they ended up like in some sort of like just a street. So at this point in time, they stopped running, and Mob actually came to the realization, because if you watch the episode, you'd remember that when he handed the candies out, Ritsu actually ate one in front of him.
So Mob and Reagan, they're running down the street, but each time they turn a corner, there's like another new person that tells them, "Don't destroy the tree, don't destroy the tree."
So at this point in time, they're just running aimlessly, and they end up arriving under a bridge.
And then Reagan asks Mob, he's like, "Do you actually want to destroy the tree, Mob?" And Mob's like, "Yeah, I feel like we should." But then Reagan, he's like, "I feel like we shouldn't destroy the tree anymore." And then that's when Mob catches on, because Reagan did this finger point, which Mob noticed as well when he was talking to the journalist girl and to Ritsu and to the other people down the street. then Mob realizes that Reagan and everybody else in the city is brainwashed, and he's the only one alone. So Mob, he runs away from Reagan, and then he's like, you know what? I'm gonna stop running away. So he's gonna confront the Divine Tree, all the people. Mob, he's just walking to the tree at this point. And then he meets up with the journalist girl, and it's low-key a line formed for him, and he's walking past like,
Yeah, he's just walking past a multitude of people, just glorifying him and the other one, because they're both they're essentially the same person, and the one they're actually supposed to be glorifying is actually Mob, but they don't really know that because they're brainwashed again. So meanwhile, they're walking through this multitude of people. It ends up just shaping up for the next episode, and we'll go ahead and see what's gonna happen there. Any other inputs you want to go ahead and put it on?
yeah. So episode 5 will probably set up with Mob versus Ekubo, or Dimple, as the dub say. And I would say Mob defeats Dimple, but then Dimple just becomes a regular good guy again. Or Mob defeats Dimple and he just destroys him completely, just eradicating him.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the booger right now, because I liked him at the beginning because he was annoying, but he was that one pesky character in like a lot of anime that he just brings a comedic scene to it. But now that he's like this, I don't know how I feel about him. But in any case, this has been episode 4 of season 3 of Mob Psycho. And as always, guys, if there's any anime you would like us to talk about in specific, please let us know in the comments down below. My name is Maku,
Kobayashi.
and thank you.